And this is the Weekend Jazz Update with Jashan De Silva. On today's show, it's all about Mary Lou Williams, her life and times, and best hits. On this segment, we're going to be talking about an iconic album that Mary Lou composed in 1945, a 12-piece musical suite called Zodiac Suite. This album was iconic because it incorporated both classical and jazz themes, which was a revolutionary idea at the time. Also, each song in the album is based on an astrological sign. The tracks are labeled Gemini, Taurus, Libra, and so forth. Each track is dedicated to one of her friends that was born under that star sign. For instance, Aries was dedicated to Billie Holiday, Taurus to Duke Ellington, and so forth. So on this segment, we're going to be talking in detail about this album. Stay tuned to the Weekend Jazz Update with Jashan De Silva. We'll be right back after some music. And this is the Weekend Jazz Update with Jashan De Silva. Don't forget to check out my YouTube channel for archives of today's show on the Weekend Jazz Update with Jashan De Silva. On today's show, Mary Lou Williams, an iconic jazz composer and vocalist. On this segment, we're talking about an iconic album that she composed called Zodiac Suite. She composed it in 1945. It contains 12 tracks. What's significant about this album is that it incorporates both classical and jazz elements in the music, which was a revolutionary idea at the time. Each song in the suite is based on an astrological sign and features musicians or performers born under that sign. The suite was an immediate success. Shortly after its release, it was being performed at Carnegie Hall in New York City. So this was one of the breakthrough albums that Mary Lou Williams composed, a fusion of classical music and jazz. The story of how she got the idea to write this is equally interesting. She was inspired by one of her friends to write music based on astrological signs of her friends. So she started writing songs. Gemini, Taurus, and Scorpio were her first tracks. So all the songs in this album were based on the astrological signs of her friends in the jazz arena. Aries for Billie Holiday, Taurus for Duke Ellington, Gemini for Shorty Baker, and so forth. There was an entire crowd of musicians under Libra, which was dedicated to Art Tatum, Dizzy Gillespie, Bud Powell, Thelonius Monk, Charlie Parker, and John Coltrane. Zodiac Suite was first performed at Town Hall in New York City. The story surrounding the premiere of the very first performance of this suite is just as iconic as the album itself. It took place on December 31st, 1945. Now, her intentions were clear, and yet initially everybody was confused as to what the real songs were about. Story goes that the band were unused to this sort of orchestral arrangement. In some parts of the music, Williams had to omit the orchestral parts and perform along with only the rhythm section of the band. So, initially, the premiere seemed like an unsuccessful one. Nobody had any idea of how famous the Zodiac Suite would become in later years. The composition of the Zodiac Suite had an even deeper story. It was a testimonial to Mary Lou Williams' resilience in the face of adversity. Even today, when this piece is performed, it reminds fans of her vast talent and musical range. So now, let's talk about some of the tracks from this album. The song dedicated to Thelonius Monk, Libra, the star sign he was born under. A song that blends orchestral themes with jazz troops. Scorpio mixed deep, gravelly chords with beautiful clarinet and horn music. Gemini was Mary Lou Williams' own star sign, a very fast-paced track with boogie-woogie themed backdrop instrumentals. Cancer is a more leisurely song, starring a tenor saxophone theme. Each track lasts for 3 minutes. There's also operatic singing in the star sign for Pisces. A beautiful, enchanting album that showcases Mary Lou Williams at her very best as a composer. So that was a bit of insight into Zodiac Suite, one of Mary Lou Williams' most iconic compositions. And this is the Weekend Jazz Update with Jashan De Silva. On today's show, it's all about Mary Lou Williams, her life and times, and best music. We'll be right back after some music. And this is the Weekend Jazz Update with Jashan De Silva. On today's show, Mary Lou Williams, her life and times, and best hits. Good news for fans of musician and composer Alice Coltrane. There is a previously unreleased recording of an Alice Coltrane performance from 1971 in Carnegie Hall. It's now up for grabs on Impulse Records. The concert performance features the legendary saxophonist performing alongside other legends like Cecil McBee, Tulsi Reynolds, Pharoah Sanders, and others. This record is going to be released for the very first time. Now, this concert was held at a turning point in Alice Coltrane's career. It was held to coincide with her fourth solo album release, Journey in Sachidananda, which was all about a spiritual trip she'd taken to India. For more information, please visit alicecoltrane.inc.2/live at Carnegie Hall ID. And this is the Weekend Jazz Update with Jashan De Silva. On today's show, it's all about Mary Lou Williams, her life and times and best hits. We're going for a short break, but when we come back, we're going to be talking about more great hits from Mary Lou Williams. Stay tuned. And this is the Weekend Jazz Update with Jashan De Silva. On today's show, it's all about Mary Lou Williams, her biography and best hits. On this segment, we're going to be talking about some of her best songs of all times, renditions of jazz classics. Here's a bunch of beautiful love songs performed in her iconic vocals. A quick recap of the songs that we're going to be discussing on this segment. Caravan, a beautiful jazz classic. A love story that takes place during a caravan ride in the desert. A sad love song called Lady Be Good, where the woman in the story is yearning for true love. What's Your Story, Morning Glory? A song in which the singer knows her lover is plagued by dire thoughts, and she's asking him to tell her what's ailing him. A song with a religious theme to it called Saint Martin de Porres, a tribute song to a Dominican saint from the 16th century that tells the story of his life. All God's Children Got Rhythm tells us that despite our background, everybody has rhythm within. It's all about the ability to enjoy music. That's the biggest gift of mankind. And a beautiful sentimental ballad that takes place in the form of a dialogue between a man and a woman singing of their love to each other called He's Funny That Way. So on this segment, we're going to be discussing these songs, the meanings of the lyrics and more. Stay tuned to the Weekend Jazz Update with Jashan De Silva. We'll be right back after some music. And this is the Weekend Jazz Update with Jashan De Silva. On today's show, it's all about Mary Lou Williams, her biography and best hits. On this segment, we're going to be talking about some of her best songs of all time, renditions of jazz classics. Here's a bunch of beautiful love songs performed in her iconic vocals. A beautiful song called Caravan. This one's a timeless jazz classic. This one takes place in the romantic backdrop of a nighttime desert. The singer is traveling in a caravan in that backdrop with his lover. The mood of the song fluctuates from passionate love to the magic, the mystery of love. So, a love story that takes place in a caravan, while the singer is singing to his lover during the ride. Oh Lady Be Good is taken from her album At Rick's Cafe American. This one's a sad love song. In the song, the woman is yearning for a romantic partner. The singer is dressed up, but she has nowhere to go, and she wants to meet the right guy, somebody who can help her blossom. So this song reflects a typical mood common to many love songs from the early 20th century. The singer is presented as a stereotypical figure who is seeking love in a backdrop of melancholy and forlornness. A beautiful song that she composed called What's Your Story, Morning Glory, from the album Nightlife. In this song, the singer is talking about confusion and disconcertment that they can see on the face of their lover. The singer is asking her lover, what's your story, Morning Glory? Trying to find out what's wrong. So the song takes place as a dialogue where the singer is singing to her loved one, asking him to tell her what's wrong. Another song composed by Mary Lou Williams with a religious theme to it. She composed this as a tribute to a patron saint and released the song on her album Black Christ of the Andes. It's called Saint Martin de Porres. So this one's a tribute to Saint Martin de Porres, the patron saint of social justice. The story takes place in the 16th century and features Saint Martin de Porres, a Dominican friar hailing from Peru. The song talks about his characteristics, his story. Despite being a religious figure at the time, he chose to live a life of poverty and humility. All God's Children Got Rhythm is a song taken from the album 100 Christmas Blues. Now this song is a song about how music is the best way to alleviate the evils of human conditions. That phrase, all God's children got rhythm, talks about the universalness of this fact, as every human being, regardless of backdrop, has rhythm within. It's not material possessions that add to the flavor of life, but the ability to enjoy the music. A beautiful sentimental ballad called He's Funny That Way. This song features two characters, the man and the woman. He's in disbelief that she's in love with him. And then the song delves into the contrasting natures of the two characters. The woman once lived a luxurious life, now she finds satisfaction in the small things in life. The man finds nothing special about himself, he's not particularly attractive or wealthy, and he can't believe that she has fallen in love with him. So the song's ultimate meaning is that love transcends all differences. So that was more great hits by Mary Lou Williams, and this is the Weekend Jazz Update with Jashan De Silva. We'll be right back after some music. Here's Mary Lou with... This is the Weekend Jazz Update with Jashan De Silva. On today's show, it was all about jazz singer Mary Lou Williams, her life and times and best hits. So now it's time to recap what we discussed on the show. To start off with, a quick recap of her biography. Mary Lou Williams was born in the early 20th century. Over her career, she mastered several jazz styles, including stride, swing, hard bop, and more. Her compositions number the hundreds. She typically wrote them for other jazz greats like Duke Ellington and Benny Goodman, two of her mentors in the jazz arena. In 1971, Mary Lou Williams was nominated for a Grammy for Best Jazz Performance for her album Giants, Dizzy Gillespie, Bobby Hackett, Mary Lou Williams. So that was a bit of insight into her biography. Now let's talk about some of her best songs and compositions of all time. The first song is called Until the Real Thing Comes Along, a song recorded by her band, The Clouds of Joy. It was a song originally recorded to show the plight of early African Americans. Mary Lou Williams improved on its melody. It's a beautiful saxophone track. What's Your Story, Morning Glory? This one, the singer knows her lover is plagued by dire thoughts, and she's asking him to tell her what's ailing him. A song with a religious theme to it, called Saint Martin de Porres. Now this one's a tribute song to a Dominican saint from the 16th century that tells the story of his life. And an album that she composed to massive success, a 12-piece musical suite called Zodiac Suite. This album was iconic because it incorporated both classical and jazz themes, which was a revolutionary idea at the time. Also, each song in the album is based on an astrological sign. The tracks are labeled Gemini, Pisces, Taurus, Libra, and so forth. Each track is dedicated to one of her friends that was born on that star sign. So that was a quick recap of Mary Lou Williams' life and times and best hits. And that brings us to an end of the Weekend Jazz Update with Jashan De Silva for today. You can check out my YouTube channel for archives of today's show on the Weekend Jazz Update with Jashan De Silva. I'll see you again next week. Have a great week ahead.